Here in Peru, the search for a seafood delicacy begins with a motorcycle ride through the desert. Just a handful of people in the whole country are skilled enough to scale the towering cliffs. They're hunting for a special mollusk called Barquillo, found inside coastal rocks where the waves crash.
Para que ellos deleiten este marisco, nosotros tratamos de regar, ¿no?, la vida de nosotros, ¿no?
Barquillos are the main ingredient in a special kind of seafood ceviche that's made only in the remote town of Huarmey, which has now become a go-to destination for foodies from all over the world. But what's in it for the men who put their lives on the line hunting for this elusive sea creature? About a 5-hour drive north of Lima is the small fishing town of Huarmey. Every day, Arminio Lobato de la Cruz packs up his climbing gear and hits the road.
Todas las mañanas me encomiendo a las manos de Dios, que Él nos cuide, nos resguarde. Yo sé que Él nos ha dado la vida y Él nos la puede quitar también.
He's learning from his mentor, Juan Lee Gómez, who has nearly 20 years of experience as a shellfish collector or mariscador. He's known as El Grande. Together, they bike for 25 miles till they reach this coastal desert.
Yo, por ejemplo, primera vez que fui al acantilado, lo sentía un poco riesgoso, ¿no? Pero un poquito que el cuerpo me escarapelaba, un poquito de miedo tenía por ahí.
But with time, El Grande says he overcame his fear.
Tú eres independiente de uno mismo. No es como de un trabajo te dice, entra a tal hora y tal hora vas así.
They prefer to scale the cliffs the way their ancestors did, without any formal rock climbing gear. The men wear hand-woven mesh shoes that don't retain water.
Prácticamente se agarra, ¿no? Como dicen, no, que no trata de resbalar.
El Grande ties the rope around an iron rod that's hammered into the rock. This is the only thing that anchors them to these cliffs that are as high as 1,000 feet.
Al inicio sí era un poco que le tenía miedo, ¿no? Pensaba que de repente ya no iba a regresar.
Mira, toca.
Pero ahora sí ya tengo costumbre, ¿no?
Lobato goes first. The two men take turns rappelling down using each other for support like a pulley system.
Se hace fuerza en la soga bastante, tienes dolor de brazos. La mano, como te digo, te duele bastante en la fuerza que haces, te quemas la soga. Por varias oportunidades me han reventado los dedos.
Falling rocks and debris make the descent even more challenging.
No tienes que estar preocupado en nada, porque a veces si tú estás preocupado en algo, puedes tener una mala agar. Uno tiene que estar su mente despejado.
El Grande starts to descend once Lobato stops at about 300 feet down.
Ya prácticamente ya lo sé de memoria ya, a esos acantilados ya.
The rope isn't long enough to reach the rocks in one shot. So they carry more and tie it at different points along the route. The entire descent takes them about 40 minutes. Finally, El Grande meets Lobato at a ledge near the ocean. The water temperature, even in the summer, is around 68 degrees Fahrenheit. So they put on a thermal suit for insulation. These cost them about 1,000 Peruvian soles, or about $270. but they're an essential investment. December to March are the best months to harvest the barquillos because the ocean is relatively calmer. So when the water retreats during low tide, they try to pluck as many barquillos as they can.
Guarda.
Corres, entras a la piedra, sacas y rápido sales también.
No, bueno, llévatelo todo. Ay, ay, ay.
Y si es que el agua también no viene con fuerza, tú te cubres bajo la piedra y el agua va a pasar por encima. Entonces tú estás protegido ahí y sigues trabajando.
Saludos para Mimín, tienes que decirle. Ay, ay. Córrete.
The barquillos thrive off the algae and seagrass that cover the slippery rocks. They're just 2 inches long and blend in, but the men know exactly what they look like. They use their hands and sometimes a piece of spring iron to get them off.
Que nosotros le sacamos punta para que el marisco lo hinquemos y sale el marisco. Sí, sin esto, el marisco se pega duro a la roca.
Here in Peru, mariscadores were harvesting barquillos as far back as 600 AD, using rafts to reach them. The exterior shell is made of 8 plates that overlap slightly, allowing it to curl up into a ball. Inside, it has a radula or tongue covered with sharp, tiny teeth that help it eat the algae. They can live up to 20 years and are a natural source of food for birds, crabs, starfish, and more. Species of this mollusk are also found in Alaska, California, Chile, and the Great Barrier Reef. But today, there are only a dozen mariscadores left in and around Huarmey who collect the barquillo this way. Others, like Juan Obed Logimet, rent boats to get to nearby tidal pools. But that's expensive and much slower. Mariscadores also say they can access more locations by climbing up and down the cliffs. But Juan can no longer do that. Last year, a wave thrashed him on these rocks, permanently injuring his knee.
Me gira el cuerpo, me tumba y tráxalo. Yo quise pararme y ya el dolor era insoportable.
He uses a different technique to catch the shellfish with special bamboo sticks or cañas. He attaches an iron hook on one stick to scrape off the barquillo, and a mesh net on the other to catch it. This helps him reach deep into the rocks while staying away from the waves.
Mar, tú tienes que saber las corrientes en las cuales está en ese momento, ¿no? Hoy día puede estar el agua bien buena y mañana puede estar hecha un león. Los accidentes que yo he tenido han sido fuertes, o sea, rotura de hueso, costillas, tendonitis, esguince. Y bueno, pues yo dije, la vida hasta que te dice, te doy una oportunidad más, trata de cambiar lo que estás haciendo.
Accidents like his are all too common for mariscadores in Peru, which is one of the world's top 5 fishing nations. But the majority of incidents go unreported since the fishing sector is mostly informal.
Hay muchas cruces que los familiares han puesto en el filo de los acantilados, como recordatorio de los que han muerto ahí.
Today, Lobato and El Grande plucked about 350 barquillos in 3 hours, and even ate some of them fresh. If they're in the shell, they can stay alive for a couple of days. But mariscadores often deshell them so their load is lighter. Pulling themselves up after a whole day of fishing is exhausting and takes the most stamina. Once the men are back in Huarmey, they try to sell the barquillo right away to wholesalers.
Ah, es rico, pues saladito, es el sabor al mar, ¿no?
Juan also delivers barquillos to local fish markets. He can make up to 500 soles a week, or about $136 depending on his haul. In this part of Peru, that could pay for a week's worth of groceries for a family of 4.
Ya, listo, Carmen, muchas gracias.
Juan's family also runs a seafood restaurant that serves ceviche, the national dish of Peru. It's usually a mixture of raw seafood and fish with onions and citrus juice. But restaurants in Huarmey are known for making it with only shellfish. Foodies from all over the world travel here to try the famous version of ceviche.
Donde se come lo mejor el ceviche acá en Huarmey.
El barquillo, por ejemplo, es una comida wari antigua de nuestros incas, nuestros antepasados ya comían ceviches de marisco. Lo hacían con guanábana y con maracuyá, que es algo agrio, ácido, y lo convertían en su ceviche.
And while this is a local treat found in every corner of Huarmey, mariscadores like Juan feel forgotten.
Y la gente queda maravillada, pero no sabe qué hay detrás de todo ese trabajo que se ha hecho para que llegue a su mesa el marisco.
There are other jobs in the area in mining and agriculture, but El Grande and Lobato say shellfish hunting is the most lucrative for them right now.
No me importa el peligro, ¿no? Lo que me importa es que mis hijos sean profesionales. Si es que mi trabajo es desesperarme y hacer plata para que ellos estudien. Tengo que agarrarme fuerte y que no me pase nada, ¿no? Porque tengo que llegar bien a casa.